Hello there. This is Mark Smith again with Family Tree Counseling, and I'm going to be speaking today on the topic your unhappiness is 100% your responsibility. There's a little bit of writing that I did about 24 years ago on, it was called Victims No Longer. It's on our website, familytreecounseling.com. If you look under articles, the article is called Victims No Longer. And it was pretty meaty. I'm getting 5 videos out of one article. And it's all about the concept that you're not a victim. And I quoted an author whose name is Portia Nelson. I think I'm saying her name right, or it might be Portia Nelson. And she wrote a little thing called An Autobiography in 5 Short Chapters. And it's real cute and it's real powerful, and let me read that for you. I walk down the street and there's a hole in the sidewalk and I fall in and I'm lost and I'm hopeless. But it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's somebody else's fault. And it takes me forever to find a way out. I'm going to come back to the author's words. So that's a victim mentality. You walk down the street, you fall in a hole, and you're blaming it on somebody else. You're never going to get out of that hole because you're thinking wrong. Challenges in life are meant to teach us our blind spots. Marriage is meant to teach you what your blind spots are. Chapter 2 of this autobiography. I walk down the very same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend that I don't see it, and I fall in again. And I can't believe that I find myself in the same darn place. But it isn't my fault. It's not my fault. It's my husband is a stinker. My wife is a so-and-so. It's her fault. It's her lawyer's fault. It's my kid's fault. It's my boss's fault. It's not my fault. And it takes me a long, long time to get out. It's so freeing. And I don't like the word fault, by the way. I like the word responsibility. It's nobody's fault, but your life is your responsibility. And that's really the word that I really enjoy and like and think is the correct word. Chapter 3. I walk down that same street. Very same street. You better be careful. And there's a deep hole in the sidewalk. And I see that it's there. But I still fall in. Because it's sort of become a habit. I've been becoming somebody who falls in this deep hole, and I'm in a rut. But my eyes are open, and I know where I am, and it is my responsibility. I'm the one who fell in the hole. I walked down the street. I knew what that street was. I knew there was a hole in the sidewalk, but I still walked down it. But it's my responsibility. I ain't blaming nobody. And I get out of that hole right away. You know, I'm aided by proactivity and the sense that I am not a victim, and I don't linger in the bottom of that hole. I get out right away. My life is my responsibility. If I choose somebody who becomes an alcoholic, then that's on me. If I choose somebody who has been unfaithful, this is what happens when somebody comes in my office and their spouse has cheated. Many times I'll ask them a question. I'll say, who abandoned you when you were a child? And if they're truthful, they'll always tell me the truth that, well, my dad died when I was 4. or my mom died when I was 7, or my dad moved away when I was, yet unborn, and I've never met the man. I never knew my father. Or we grew up in a busy farm family, and everybody was working, and there just wasn't time to sit around and be all touchy-feely. And nobody had any time to come to my softball games or my events at school because everybody was working. And now I've grown up and married somebody who also has abandoned me. So that's somebody, when you know that the quality of your love life is all about, who you chose to pick. Nobody stood there with most of us, I would assume, that nobody stood there with a shotgun and made us marry who we married. We chose that. We're responsible for that. And then they start acting badly. They overwork, they underwork, they overdrink, they rage, they cheat. And how many years you been married to them? They started those behaviors 10 years ago, and you're still here. And so that 10 years of them treating you badly, you let it happen. Somebody who was healthy and wasn't abandoned as a child, and they got treated that way, there would have been a separation. There would have been massive therapy. The best therapist in town would have been retained, and that person would have changed, or you would have fired them. You would have divorced them long ago. And you say, well, I didn't want to divorce them because of the kids. Well, what you're doing by staying in a relationship where there's alcoholism and disconnection and infidelity without them changing and you being bitter and victimy, what you're doing, unfortunately, is ensuring that your kids are going to grow up and have your very exact same marriage. They're either going to be the addict and the cheater, or they're going to be the abandoned person who's bitter and victimy. So this is a wonderful thing to understand, that your life and your marriage is completely your responsibility. Let's go on with the 5 autobiographical chapters. We're in chapter 4. I walked down that same street. I know there's a deep hole in the sidewalk, but this time I walk around it. So I teach my single people in midlife who've been through a divorce, and they understand their childhood and they're in recovery. I tell them, if you really like a woman and she really likes you, and your parents were mean and crazy, and your first wife was mean and crazy, guess what? We already know who this chick is. We know she's going to be mean and crazy. That's a fact. We know it already. Don't be surprised. So by walking around the hole, what you do is you know who you're dealing with right away. You don't feel victimized about it. You know that actually makes them the right person. And you just find out, can this person do the work of therapy? Are they able to be highly motivated because they have insight into their own stuff? Are they teachable? Are they open-minded and open-hearted? That pain I talked about in an earlier video, is it a swamp or is it a Coors Light, bubbling brook, that's clean and fresh and flowing through them? Are they able to trust a therapist, and are they willing to do the homework, the hard work of therapy, and read books and do what they need to do to get healthy? If you have that person, even if they're a little mean and a little crazy, that makes her your kind of woman. And you can roll up your sleeve, and because that's what love is. Love is an opportunity to heal your unresolved wounds from your childhood. So chapter 5 I just walked down a whole nother street altogether. Ain't no falling in the hole. I walked down another street altogether. Recovery and self-responsibility started in chapter 3 when the person said, I'm responsible. It's nobody else's fault. Whatever deep holes you have in your life can be avoided if you're aware and if you're working on your own recovery. You don't have to be anybody's victim. You are nobody's victim. You have the power to make the rest of your life a journey, an adventure that's safe. It's something you understand. You can tackle it with a spirit of joy and proactivity and just being able to trust the universe. You know, life is hard. Hard things happen. But as you work on yourself and as you become more healthy, you can avoid falling in some ugly holes. You can avoid sabotaging yourself. You can avoid divorces. You can avoid picking business partners who are unhealthy and unscrupulous. You can avoid financial disaster. You can avoid addiction. You can avoid getting arrested. You can avoid breaking the law by walking down streets where you have your eyes open and you know who you are, you know where you came from, and you know how you're wired romantically. So that's 5 short chapters, an autobiography, and it just, the story is, you know, you're responsible 100% for your life. Nobody's to blame, nobody's at fault. You're no doubt a very good person, but you, my friend, have built your life, and there's a scripture. I'm going to quote scripture that says, "Whatever you sow, that shall you also reap," and that's true. I teach my associates that in marketing, if you sow a lot of seed, you're going to reap a lot of harvest. But if you sow a lot of unhealthy, addictive seeds and you pick unhealthy people and you unconsciously but somewhat deliberately hone in and pick abandoning people and raging people and hurtful people like your dad was or your mom was, then it's all good. It's all emotional school, and it's all an opportunity for you to get healthy and for you to learn everything that you can possibly learn about yourself and heal as much as you can heal about yourself. So listen, if you haven't joined our what do we call it, not a chapter, or our YouTube channel. Sorry, I'm getting old. Got the Alzheimer's. With I'm 55 today, and if you haven't joined our YouTube channel, I encourage you to do so. We're 3 away from 1,000. So I'd like to say you get a prize if you're 1,000, but that wouldn't be true. You just get the prize of a lot of good videos. About 5 or 6 of us are doing videos these days, and my staff are wonderful people and they're doing good work, and you'll enjoy the videos that they're putting out. So also visit our website, familytreecounseling.com. I have 5 books, one on abandonment issues that really does well around the world about being abandoned and how you then pick that in your relationship and you reenact sort of a crazy dance. Also have a book on shame, one on affair recovery, one on counterdependency, one on marriage counseling, and one on the basics of recovery. So watch out which street you walk down, folks. Watch out for those holes and start walking down safe, healthy streets that bring you blessing. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless.